We don't have enough breakdancers to save the community center. Hello and welcome to the EuroWhat, episode 235, dropping on June 18th, 2024. We are a pair of Americans trying to make sense of the Eurovision Song Contest. I'm Ben Smith, and I'm here with my co-host, Mike McComb. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Ben.
In this episode, we'll be talking about some of the headlines since last month's Eurovision Grand Final. It's been a minute. I don't know about you, I've been enjoying going outside and touching grass.
Yeah, not so much the grass part, just because of allergies and such.
Yeah,
but
the pollen has not been great with my other longtime hobby of breathing normally.
But yeah, it's been nice to not be in front of the TV or constantly checking news sites and be like, oh God, what is happening now? So a lot calmer, but there's still a lot of stuff to talk about. So that is a good thing.
Yeah, and I guess let's start by checking in with the news from our new beautiful exotic host country, Switzerland. So Eurovision broke a lot of new records, hundreds of millions watching, listening, and engaging with the television, with the digital platforms. It's just like there was like a nice little EBU press release. I'd be like, look at how many people are watching.
Finally providing the citation every time they're saying like, oh, this many hundreds of millions of people. Be like, please provide actual data.
Please just give us a number. Just like, where are you getting the number from?
Yes, so it is down from 8 billion or whatever number they gave in 1986. So there is that. Yeah.
Everyone on Earth is watching.
163 million viewers across the 3 live shows, across the participating broadcasters. I don't think those numbers include Peacock or other streaming platforms, but 163 million for what is ostensibly a smaller contest compared to previous years. Not bad. That's a pretty good crowd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the grand final had a 46.7% audience share. That is the biggest since 2006. Which, that's a lot of people, on the other hand, thinking about, like, the 24 to 36 hours before the contest. Yeah, like, something's happening. We love mess.
Just thinking of some of the headlines on that Saturday, be like, oh, I'm sure that probably drummed up some gawking interest.
Iceland had the highest audience share of the broadcasters with 96%. That tracks with Iceland. They are a small nation. They love Eurovision. I really want to see like how that compares to like previous years, though. 96 is high for anybody, but like, is it high for Iceland?
Yeah, that number does feel low, but you have to consider they didn't qualify for the grand final. So perhaps the Hera Bjork household was just like, well, screw this. So
as they would be right to do.
Yeah.
We also had the biggest audience from Croatia since 2006. No surprise there. The YouTube live stream of the contest maxed out at 1.6 million viewers. And this is just very funny to me. Always on the Run was the most Shazammed song in the grand final.
Yeah, that was my favorite little tidbit that they included with all of their social media stuff. Because they were talking about a whole bunch of TikTok stuff. And I just don't do TikTok. So like those, I'm sure those numbers are great for TikTok. Like I think it was in the hundreds of millions of people reached. But the Shazam, that is an active participation thing. And yeah, I find it interesting that it was Germany's entry that got that honor. Following from this year's contest, it's now time to start asking the question, host city when, host city where? Yeah, we have a list of potential host cities so far. We've got Basel, Geneva, Zurich, their city council approved, making a bid. And then the Bern region is trying to put together a joint bid. And that's where Nemo, this year's contest winner, is from. So I think that makes sense as a potential bid city. We're still waiting on the final list. The bids aren't due until the end of this month, but I believe Basel is the only one that has actually completed all of the paperwork.
You had St. Gallen, another area in Switzerland, proposing a potential joint bid with Liechtenstein, 20 minutes down the road, nice breezy walk. And the actually we will not be bidding statement was delightful to me. Just like, oh yeah, no, we don't fit like most of the criteria here. Thank you for considering us. Bye.
The full statement like really did actually reveal a lot of details about like the number of hotels that need to be available, the size of venue, and a lot of the logistics stuff that we enjoy nerding out about. I don't know if other people enjoy it, but yeah, like it just seemed like, oh, this is a much bigger undertaking. Like I think back to when we talked about Mill Street last season and just being like, yep, I don't think Mill Street would be able to host this year.
There is like a very scrappy, let's put on a show quality about the Mill Street Street bid that I appreciate, and I appreciate about seeing the St. Gallen bid details. But yeah, they're just like, yeah, we don't have enough breakdancers to save the community center.
We don't have a big enough community center that would do this. So yeah. Well, I'm guessing Zurich will complete the bid if they've already gone through the city council route. So probably these 3 or 4 will end up being the short list, but we will see.
In terms of other ducks being placed in a neat row, Switzerland has announced that Redo Peritz of SRF and Moritz Stadler of RTS will be the co-managers of Eurovision 2025. Redo Peritz is a former head of delegation. He sat on the reference committee between 2019 and 2021 and has worked at SRF for over 16 years. So, established hand at the broadcaster. Stadler works at the EBU. That's handy. Has a background in operations in live performance broadcasting, which a good thing to have in your back pocket.
Yeah, this team seems like a good start to putting on next year's show. Wasn't able to pull too much from their LinkedIn when I was looking at it, but but from what I could pick up, it's like, oh yeah, these are like absolutely the sort of people that you would want to have at the helm.
Yes, and like I absolutely want to know just like how many people LinkedIn told them were looking at their profile in an email.
That's all of the 2025 stuff that, well, I guess the positive stuff to look at. Our next section, labeled in our doc as, is everyone still mad at the EBU? That answer is maybe. Who knows? The EBU announced that there will be an independent investigation to look into what some are calling the unsafe working atmosphere at this year's contest, following the complaints from at least 13 delegations, which we have talked about extensively in our last 5-6 episodes, something like that.
It's been a common theme.
Avatros, the Dutch broadcaster, indicated that they are now taking future participation under deeper consideration. And they're kind of taking a wait and see approach to make sure that structural adjustments are made to avoid the sort of situation that happened this year. They're still contesting the disqualification of Joost and, kind of waiting to see how that part plays out before making any participation decisions.
In terms of working atmosphere, it sounds like S10 from a couple years ago also had some issues behind the scenes. So, yeah, it feels like, particularly with Avatros, there's been some longer standing issues that this year only had to exacerbate more.
That's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
Slovenia reported that they've been invited to a meeting with an EBU, probably part of this overall investigation process. Still have not received like an itemized list of answers to the questions and comments that they provided last month to the EBU, but I have a feeling we're going to get at least some report or something, a press release maybe, once this investigation is complete about what sort of potential structural changes or goals, mission statements, 7-point plans. I don't know. I'm going into nonprofit brain right now.
Yeah, no, we're absolutely going to get like some sort of like careful PR release about all of this before next year, I'm certain.
Norway's head of delegation, Stig Karlsson, has been commenting on the investigation. And he's hoping for a transparent process. And he's someone who has a lot of sway within delegations and such. So I would suggest keeping an eye on his socials. He is not afraid to talk about this stuff.
Nope. So. He is a good follow. But yes, in terms of, is everyone still mad at the EBU? Just shake the magic 8 ball seems unclear. We're going to be getting some more Patreon stuff this summer, some fun bonus episodes. Thank you to everybody who continues to support the show. It helps us make the show. We love your support. And we have some fun bonuses for you coming this summer. Our next AV Club topic is going to be the upcoming Celine Dion documentary, I Am Celine Dion, which will be available on Amazon Prime starting June 25th. We'll be dropping our episode about that on July 9th. If you'd like to join, if you'd like to check those out, all of that can be found at patreon.com/EuroWhat.
And you'll also have access to all of our previous bonus episodes, other previous Celine Dion related episodes, the Aline one. Oh, I guess that one has been on the main feed. But
yes.
Yeah, if you enjoyed that episode, that's the sort of tenor that we have over on the Patreon. So yeah, check us out. And again, thank you so much for your support. Even though there is kind of the sense of toward the EBU at the moment, there are 13 countries that have provisionally indicated that they will be participating in the 2025 contest. Since we last checked, the ones that have joined that list are Austria, Croatia, no surprise there.
Yep, not shocked.
Finland, and they announced that UMK will be happening in February, so probably a schedule similar to this past year's UMK. Germany will be coming back, but NDR is going to remain in charge of their entry. There was some discussion earlier this year about possibly another broadcaster taking on the responsibility of choosing their entry, but not happening this year, probably because they did well this year.
They were the most Shazam song mic.
Exactly. Yes. So, do not doubt the power of the Shazam diaspora. I don't know.
We are legion.
Israel, Portugal, and Serbia have also indicated they will be coming back next year.
One nation where it's looking it at least has to go through a parliamentary process. Latvia has to weigh in on its future participation. There was a petition requesting diverting the funds to sports instead that received 11,000 signatures, which is enough for it to go in front of Parliament. The author of the initiative said, "I call for Latvia's participation in Eurovision to be terminated. It is doubtful whether this event significantly contributes to the image and reputation of Latvia. People who participate there tend to behave obscenely, and this is also stated as the norm." So, okay, yeah, I'm getting a vibe from that.
Maybe they weren't a fan of Latvia's 2022 entry. Maybe the green message was just not what they were hoping for.
Continuing on, Latvia should better invest its already problematic public funding where we have clear benefits in sports. It is unacceptable for the Biathlon Federation to collect donations for the World Championship, which is definitely more important than Eurovision. Again, getting a vibe.
This just warmed my heart. Back in college, I was on the bowling team, and it's just reminding me of the finance meetings that we would have to go to. It's like, no, we need gas money to get to these bowling tournaments. And that feels the same level of Biathlon Federation
yes.
to me.
Yeah, no, as somebody who is now part of a very scrappy city-based curling club, the fight is real.
Yeah. So it's just of all of the sports, I'm just tickled by that choice. This one is more important than Eurovision. If that is where your passion is, I totally get it. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I'm not sure how much soft power the Biathlon Federation is able to generate the way that Eurovision does.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I'm also just thinking, speaking of CD Zani, they just had last year, they had the song that went along with Latvia's basketball participation.
Oh, there we go.
Also, all of this happened before Latvia qualified this year.
Yes. So I'll be curious to see how that piece of it factors in because, going back to the audience piece of it, Latvia had the biggest audience in years, probably because it's been years since they've qualified, but it was 4 times the audience size of last year's contest. So, we'll keep an eye on this one. I'm not expecting there to be problems, but who knows? Budgets are tight.
Maybe taking a year off is good for Latvia.
Yeah. But please don't. I love you, Latvia.
Yeah, but also we love your process. Please don't go away.
Other countries kind of raising budget concerns. Moldova, TRM, their broadcaster, they had to have some special meetings to discuss their Eurovision participation this year. Moldova did not qualify for the final, and the delegation spent about $25,000 US to fund their participation. That doesn't include the part that Natalia Barbu financed herself. She covered about 1/3 of the total cost of Moldova participating this year. That amount may not sound like much, but it was 5% of TRM's total annual budget. So I can see them raising the concern, especially because cost of living crisis is real. Prices are going up everywhere. And again, Olympics, that's going to be an expensive endeavor for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it's another one where I would, if they took a year off, I wouldn't be surprised. But again, please don't. We love your general vibe, Moldova.
Yeah, that would be really sad if they did not participate, but understandable if they're unable to.
We are now in the season that everybody calls up all of the microstates to be like, hello, Monaco. Luxembourg's back. How are you doing? For once, it doesn't feel like the phone call has been, they haven't been immediately hung up on. So Kosovo has officially requested an invitation to participate, and they've been working on that since at least 2012. Part of the issue with that is just international recognition of Kosovo is a whole deal. The Serbia and Kosovo relationship appears to be improving, but many countries do not recognize Kosovo on procedural grounds.
Going through the list, researching this, and a number of them are Eurovision participating countries, and a lot of them are just once the UN recognizes Kosovo, then we can talk. But until then, we're not going to get in on this one.
But they have broadcast the contest since 2016, and they are going to be holding the second RTK Festival i Këngës. Submissions are underway for that. Those are open to Kosovo, Montenegro, North Macedonia, Albania, and the general diaspora there. So that's one to watch, because I feel like they've tried to do Junior Eurovision. So if they have their ducks in a row, let them do it. Let's have a new nation.
Looking at the letter that they submitted to the EBU, they were calling on oh, well, we appreciate what you've done with Australia and inviting them into the contest and bringing up some good points, being yeah, even though this is kind of an exception, you've kind of made that exception for other people. Come on.
Yeah. We see what you've done for others.
I'm actually really excited about RTK FIK.
Yes.
If anything, just to have another thing to watch in December. Mm-hmm. Just be oh, okay, let's see how it compares and contrast.
I'm down for watching RTK FIK.
And I'm also intrigued about it being open to people from Montenegro and North Macedonia and these countries that also have not been able to participate at Eurovision for budget reasons. And I don't know, maybe in the next couple of years, we will start seeing joint bid processes or something just to help mitigate some of the costs. Because that's going to be one of the big things, I think, for Eurovision to figure out. Aside from their internal structural problems, the money situation is not great.
Massachusetts does not have a state fair. It has a collective state fair with 5 of the other New England states called the Big E.
Oh.
Yeah. Everybody has their little pavilion. It's I'm not saying bring back Yugoslavia, but just sort of what if a spiritual Yugoslavia?
Yeah. Oh, we are going to get in so much trouble for that.
Yep. I'm going to get yelled at for that one. And you know what? Fair.
Yes. Yes. At EuroWhat for all of your
Yes, at EuroWhat on Blue Sky. Yell at me about Yugoslavia.
Yeah. Another country that is trying to get into Eurovision's good graces is Liechtenstein. They're coming up again. Radio Liechtenstein has applied for EBU membership, and they've stated that one of the aims of getting this membership is to participate in Eurovision. This is another country that's been trying to figure out how to do this since the 2010s. So far, no radio-only broadcasters have ever participated in Eurovision, since radio is famously not known for the vision part of things.
There's nothing in the rulebook that says a dog can't play baseball, though.
I'm sure Radio Liechtenstein will cross that bridge when they get there. They just need to get the membership.
They feel like there are several bridges in the way, so.
Yes. But Eurovision's all about building bridges. At least in 2015, that was the story.
At least that's what the press release says. Let's see. So we've talked about a few national selection processes. UMK is happening in February. Germany is keeping things with NDR. Italy has a new person taking over Sanremo. Carlo Conti is returning as the host and artistic director, taking over for Amadeus. He hosted in Sanremo 2015 to 2017 and will take the reins again for 2025 and 2026. His first show was Disco Ring in the mid-'80s, sort of similar to Top of the Pops or an American Bandstand. I just love the name Disco Ring. That feels very Italo. Also, he has an asteroid named after him.
That was my favorite tidbit in his Wikipedia. I have no idea what the backstory is there. And every link that I clicked to was just going to the International Astronomers Union or something. So it was just very technical language. But yeah, there's an asteroid out there that's called Carlo Conti. So Belgium announced that they are going to be doing Eurosong for their 2025 selection. That's how we got Gustav in 2023. But this year, they're not going to be working with public submissions for the process. Belgium's broadcaster is going to work directly with record labels to find established artists, particularly ones that have had stage experience, live performance experience. From what I can tell, the potential artists have been selected, and they have until September to provide songs for consideration. I think each act is being asked to provide at least 2 songs to choose from. So it seems like they're kind of adopting a process sort of similar to Portugal's Festival de Canção, where they find the artists and then commission them to create the songs.
And then Albania, speaking of Festivali i Këngës original edition, has announced that El Haydadani, who represented them in 2015, will be this year's artistic director of the contest.
I really like this choice.
Yes, agreed.
Her song from 2015 really holds up. And yeah, just looking at the resume in the article that we'll have linked in the show notes, she's done a lot. She's won a lot of music competitions in Albania. She won the Voice of Italy. She has a lot of international appeal. Her song in the ESC 250, if it makes the countdown this year, it hits our iconic standards, which I think will and should happen. I'll be curious to see what her influence will be in the selections for this year's FIK, if it's going to be going in more of a pop direction.
Yeah, it's how does that affect the curation of the artists that get selected versus more recent years?
Yes, although the downside being she won't get to participate in the contest. So yeah, hopefully she will compete again soon, but it won't be this year. ABBA, heard of them, they received a prestigious Swedish knighthood in honor of their pop career, and I guess in honor of the 50th anniversary of doing something at Eurovision.
Yeah, just sort of number that ends in a 0. Pew, pew, pew. Yeah, because part of me is okay, but you couldn't do this when they had the resurgence in the late 90s, or the smash hit Mamma Mia, or the second time Mamma Mia was a smash hit. This time it's a movie with Meryl Streep. But you know what? Those years didn't end in a 5 or a 0, so just no.
Who knows? Maybe now they finally reached a point where all 4 of them can be in the same room as one another. Or maybe It was just a very big room. Mm-hmm. But congratulations to ABBA.
Yes. In terms of Eurovision concerts that Americans can go to without international travel, Windows 95 Man has announced an American tour that will be taking place in January 2025.
Oh, no.
The perfect time to wear tiny shorts.
Yep. Yeah, especially looking at the first 2 stops, New York and Chicago. Yeah, have fun with that outfit in Chicago winter.
I mean, if he can do that in Finland, I feel that he's trained all of his life for this. He can take it. He can handle it.
That's very fair. Yes. He will be appearing in New York, Chicago, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. And the Chicago date is kind of convenient, so it's on my calendar. I have not made any purchases yet.
I saw the announcement, and I knew in my heart when he said it was January that the New York date was going to be a weekend I could not pop down to New York, and I'm correct.
That's a shame.
So I need everybody to sell out that tour so that he has to come back and do more cities.
We have a link to the announcement. I don't know if there's a link to a ticket page just yet, but they do have all of the venues tagged in the Instagram announcement.
Yes. And honestly, I have a hunch what the presale code is.
The question is, will it have an exclamation point or not? So.
Correct. That's going to do it for this episode of the EuroWhat. Thanks for listening. The EuroWhat podcast is hosted by Ben Smith, that's me, and Mike McComb.
That's me. If you'd like to help support the show and access a ton of bonus content, head on over to patreon.com/EuroWhat.
Free access to our full archive of more than 200 episodes going all the way back to the 2018 contest can be found on our website, EuroWhat.com.
Next time on the EuroWhat, we take a look at Portugal's history with the contest and the 50th anniversary of the Carnation Revolution.
Pew, pew, pew.